If YouTubers had the Bastion narrator.
He turns on the camera. Spud ain't made a backlog video in what feels like weeks, and it's got him real nervous. The calamity is something that changed everyone, but not the Spud. He's not in it for the fortune and glory, you see. He's got his own reasons, don't he?
Welcome to completion number 81 of the Potato Backlog Project, a friggin' indie masterpiece. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video for the extremely obvious, but also fair Tater Raider. And let's talk a little bit about Bastion. Bastion is the first release from indie developer SuperGiantGames, released back in 2011 for Xbox Live Arcade. Over the years, the game has been made available on almost all other gaming platforms. 13 years on, it's still available to purchase and play today, which you should do. If you like video games, go and buy and play Bastion. Usually I save that line to the end for games I really like, but not this time. Just go now, literally go now. Go. Bastion is an action RPG style game. The world is brought to life by beautiful hand-painted art, amazing music, and narration that describes what's happening and tells the game's story as you're playing it. Kinda like the opening to this video. The narration replaces text boxes for dialogue and exposition, which might have otherwise bogged down the kind of gameplay experience the developers were going for. This in turn allows the player to be engaged with the surroundings, learning the gameplay and just taking everything in with no real downtime. This also helps to make multiple playthroughs feel like a more natural thing. You still get the great story, but you aren't slowed down by it. The main goal in Bastion is to collect cores from different areas. These cores are used to rebuild what is called the Bastion. This is a place that acts as a central hub world of the game. As you progress through the story, you will unlock different areas of the Bastion. The different areas of the Bastion all serve different purposes. There's a place to change your weapon loadout, weapon upgrades, passive abilities, a store for materials, a type of shrine to activate things that can add to the challenge of the game for better rewards, and there are many story elements linked to the Bastion as well. Weapon choice in Bastion is what keeps the gameplay fun and fresh throughout. You unlock new weapons by finding them within levels of the game. Bastion starts you off simple with a hammer, and by the late game you have options that range from mortar shells, twin pistols with a machete, a giant spear, there's a cannon, a flamethrower. You will need to upgrade these weapons, find the most effective combinations that you enjoy using, and not get too attached to just one thing or one loadout, as switching things up will help you deal with some of the more difficult challenges of the late game. Bastion also has special kind of side levels specific to each weapon that you find. These function as challenge levels for you to master, each with the first, second, and third place prize depending on how you perform during the challenge. The enemy variety in Bastion was pretty good. As I mentioned earlier, I found I wasn't able to stick with one type of melee or ranged weapon. I needed to master the shield, the charge type moves, and also pick the right special to complement my melee and range choices for each level, as the game was designed around having different strategies and different weapons to deal with the different enemy types. Some levels even have the weapon store within them, so you're able to alter your choices on the fly without needing to return to the Bastion. I only wish there would have been more boss battles. It was the only thing I felt that was really lacking. There are some more challenging enemy types, and you are put into some more difficult situations, but there is a special satisfaction that comes with defeating bosses in this style of game. Not detrimental to the overall experience, but noticeably missing for me personally. It is amazing to me that this game was created by just 7 people. There's a ton of depth here, and a polish that feels rare in any games these days. You can tell these guys truly want to make the best video games they can possibly make. No shortcuts, and everything in the game serves the game and the player experience with it. When people talk about video games with charm, this is the type of game I hope that they're talking about. I bought Bastion back in 2011 when it came out, and I've always loved it. But for one reason or another, I just never finished it until now. Now that I have gone through and started a new game, plus this is probably a game I'm gonna have in rotation for a really long time. The easiest 5 happy potato faces out of 5. A beautiful must-play indie masterpiece. The music, the narration, the gameplay, it all comes together into something truly wonderful and an affordable experience at that. With that, the Backlog Project rolls on. Thank you so much for watching. Be kind to yourselves and others that deserve it. We're on to the next one. This is the Bastion music.